Today, good morning. We are going to learn in Principle of Management the management theories. So, why study management theory? Because a coherent group of assumption puts forth two explanations to explain the relationship between two or more observable facts and provides a sound basis of predicting future. Okay, so when we are trying to understand principle of management, we need to see that what are these theories? What are management theories? So management theories are a collection of ideas, and that has to be recommended in general rules and how. So it provides a stable focus of understanding what we experience, enable us to communicate efficiently, and thus move into more and more complex relationship with other people in at your work domain. Imagine the frustration you would encounter with another people. You always had to define even the most basic assumptions, so you may make about in the world in which you live in. So the theories make it possible indeed. The challenges us to keep learning about a world and define the theories which bound the boundaries, that there are only so much that can be covered by any of other theories, any one theories. So once we are aware of this, we are better able to ask ourselves if there are alternative ways of looking on at the world. Okay, so a school of management thoughts explains that we have scientific management school, then we have classical organizational theory school, behavioral school, management school, science school, and system approach school, contingency approach school, and dynamic engagement approach. Okay, so what are the management theories? So management theories are the collection of ideas that recommend general rules of how to manage an organization of the businesses. And management theory addresses how supervisors implement strategies to accomplish organizational goal, and how they motivate employees to perform at their highest abilities. Typically, leaders applying constant consist of different management theories. The best suit their employees and companies culture. Although many management theories were created centuries ago, they still provide many beneficial framework for leading team in the workplace and running businesses in today's time. Okay, so the benefit of the theories is that there are several reasons why leaders should study application and apply management theory in including the increased productivity, simplifying decision making, increase the collaboration, increase the objectivity, and so on. Okay, so when we are talking about management theories, there are several management theories, like seven management theories being explained. Okay, the scientific management theory. So, scientific management theory approach formulated by Frederick W. Taylor. Okay, and he was one of the the first to study and work performance scientifically. Okay, so 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 it was between 1890s and 1930s that sought the determination of scientifically the best method of performing any task, and for selecting, training, and motivating workers. The theory said that the only way to explain productivity was by to raise the efficiency of the workers. Okay, so, Frederick W. Taylor, time and motion study, the development of a true science of management, so that the best method of performing each task could be determined. So, the scientific selection of workers, so that each worker would be given responsibility for the task for which he or she was best suited in. The scientific education and development of workers intimate friendly cooperation between management and labor. So differential rate system was also given by Frederick W. Taylor. Compensation system involving the payment of higher wages to more efficient workers were also given. So rather than quarrel over profit, both sides should try to increase the production. By so doing, he believed the profit would rise to such an extent that the labor and the management would no longer have to fight over the rights. In short, the Taylor believed that the management and labor had a common interest in increasing the productivity. Okay, so the Taylor's principle recommended that the scientific method should be used for performance tasks in the workplace, as opposed to the leader relying on the judgment or the personal decisions for team members. Now, his philosophy emphasized that the focusing people to work hard would result in most productive places. Instead, he recommended simplifying the task to increase the productivity. So he suggested that the leaders assign team members to job that best matches their ability, train them thoroughly, and supervise them to ensure they are efficient in the role. So while this focus on achieving maximum workplace efficiency by funding the optimal way to complete a task was useful, it ignored the humanity of the individual. Okay, so the theory is not practiced much today in its purest form, but it is demonstrated to leaders the importance of workplace efficiency, the value of making sure the team members receive ample training, and the need of the teamwork and cooperation between the supervisors and employees. Okay, so, Gilbert, that is Frank B. and Lillian Meth in 1868 and 1924 and 1878 and 1972 made their contribution to the scientific method movement as a husband and wife teamed up, and Lillian and Frank collaborated on fatigue and motion study, and focused on way of promoting the individual workers welfare. So to them, the ultimate aim of scientific management was to help workers reach their full potential as a human being. Okay, so their contribution is like fatigue and motion study the individual worker welfare to rise worker morals. And Henry L. Gantt, that is in 1861 to 1919, limitations of taken out the limitations of Taylor's initiative systems, and DR having less motivations, impact and new ideas in the system. So this is a Gantt chart. So project Gantt chart says that how the process will go on in a near future, that in a time and date wise how it will go on. So whatever the process it is, like uh, how the project will be briefed in and taken in, how we will analyze and familiarize, how much time it will be taken to and analyze and familiarize related understanding and knowledge assimilating, linking related items to understanding the field and the project, and how much time it will take the users to focus and group and make up ideas, and being a sincere person to actually start working on it, how much time it will take, how much time it will take to grow up linkage and software development and understanding for the working, and so it goes on with the time and date progression till the project is finished. Okay, So classical organization like to identify the principles and skill that underlie effective management. Scientific management was concerned with increasing the productivity and individual worker, and this theory provide guidelines for managing such a complex organizations. The administrative management, that is Floy principle of management, says that Henry Floy, a senior executive and a mining engineer, developed this theory when he examined the organization through the perspective of a manager and situations they might encounter. So, began his career being an engineer at a mining company and later became a managing director of that company. So, he formulated 14 principles of management, and he has been rightly called as the father of the modern management theory. Okay, so when he believed that the leaders had a fixed six main functions for to forecast, plan, coordinate, and command and control, and he developed principles that outlines how leaders should organize and interact with their team. He suggested that the principle should not be rigid, but that it should be left up to the manager to determine how they use them to manage efficiently and effectively. The principle he outlined are in 13 folds. The 14 folds, like Henry says that first he says initiative that has to be taken. So the initiative, this refers to the level of freedom an employee should have to carry out their responsibility without being forced or ordered to. Then we have equities. Uh, Equity being the principle of implying everyone into organization should be treated equally, and that it should be the environment of kindness. Then you have a secular chain, centralized it. This is secular chain. So secular chain will talk about the principle. Principle says that there should be chain of supervision or supervisor from top to bottom management, that communicate general flow from top to bottom. And he emphasized that there is no hard rule regarding the communication process through the chain of command. Okay, then he says that there is a remuneration of personals, means you have to uh, remunerate the personals. The principle refers to the assertion that there should be both monetary and non-monetary remuneration based on performance level to create a bond between employees and the organization. So the unity of directions, that this principle assert that there should be only one manager per department who is in charge of coordinating the group uh, activities to attain a single goal. Then we have discipline, that is according to the principle the employee should be respectful and obedient, and organization should outline rules and regulation that clarify um, uh, the rules of the company, the good supervision and reward punishment system. Division of labor should also be taken in, like principle asserts that overall action of management should be divided, and that the team members should be given responsibility based on their skills and interest to make them more effective and efficient. Authorities and responsibilities should also be taken in consideration, that is according to this there should be a balance between authority, the right to give command and make decision, and responsibility and obligation of an employee to perform the task they are designated. The unity of command, that this refers to the assertion that employee must get order from only one immediate supervisors, and be comfortable that the person only says the subordinate of the individual invest to general interest, and there must be harmony between the interest of the individual and the organization through the organizational interest should be given priority since it will bring reward to the individual. The centralization, according to this principle, the topmost level of authority should be centralized to the top level of management, whose power make the most important decisions in the organization. The principle asserts that an organization to run smoothly, the right person must be in the right job, and that there should be a material and employee should given a proper place and stability. Tenure of the tenure should also be taken care, that is the tenure being more stable, will the employee must have a sense of security and efficiently to work with it. This spirited d Ecor says that it refers that the belief that there must be a unified team contribution, and the cooperation is always greater than the aggregate of individual performance. The division of work, the work should again be, when we talk about division of work, the work should be into small tasks and it should be decentralized. The authority should be into right hand in a right order, and obligation to be performed in a right manner and desired directions. Discipline has to be asserted for the specially to smooth running of the organization. Unity of command should be there, that receives order from one supervisors only, and there should be unity in directions. In one direction they should be working all together. The subordination of the individual interest in a general interest also has to be taken in care of. Then remuneration of the person should be done, that is a fair amount of remuneration should be given to the employees. Centralization and decentralization of authorities, that at place at one time level it is required for the organization functioning and well understanding. Then you have circular chain. It refers to the line of authority or the chain of supervisor superiors, starting from the highest and moving towards the lowest rank. Then it means having a place for everything and keep everything in place. The orders has two components, that is material and social orders. Equity being just the loyal to all the concerned and supervisors, and should have a proper and tenure should be maintained, and so on. Then initiatives of the employee should be taken off. Then spirituality cure means working in unity is taken in understanding the uh, uh, the technique of Fourier. So the Marx Weber pronounced that Weber, that is German socialists who studied the organizational activity, he developed the theory, structure and relation. Weber described an ideal type of organization he called as bureaucracy. So from the organization characterized by division of labor, um, a clear defined hierarchy, detailed rules and regulations, and personal relationships were taken. So um the development by Max Weber bureaucratic management theory focuses on structuring organizations in a hierarchy so that there are clear rules of governance. His principle of creating this system includes a chain of command, clear division of labor, separation of personal and organizational assets of the owners, strict and consistent rules and regulation, meticulous record keeping and documentation, and the selection and promotion of employees based on their performance and equations. This theory has played a key role in establishing standard and produces that are the core of most organization today. Now, human relation theory also says that. Oh, okay. Let me explain here a little bit. Weber's idea of bureaucracy is that the bureaucracy. Just hold on. Weber's idea of bureaucracy. Just hold on. I'll just get back. Yeah. So, bureaucracy should have division of labor, authority of hierarchy, formal selection, formal rules and regulation, impersonal, idea and uniform application of in objectivity towards your employees, and career orientation. So division of labor, that is like job broken down into simple routine and well defined task. Authority hierarchy will, that is the position organized in hierarchy with a clear chain of command. A formal selection is like people selected for the job based should have a technical qualification for a particular job. Like when you are applying for a job, it is said there has been minimum qualification which is required. So for a engineer, you will require minimum qualification of engineering in particular field. Similarly, if you have a job vacancy somewhere, like a doctor will have to have a basic understanding and learned MBBS and human anatomy to apply as a job as a physician in a hospital. Similarly, it will work for electrician or anyone in particular. Okay, so there has to be a technical qualification standard. Now, formal rules and regulation says that a system of written rules and standard operating procedure should also be there. Then impersonality should be like uniform application of rules and control, not coordinating to personalize any particular persons. Then you have to have a clear orientation towards the goal of the organization, that is manager are career professional and not owners of the unit they manage at the time. Okay. Like Chess Bernard says that uh, that an enterprise can operate efficiently and survive only when the organization goal kept in a balance, uh, you know uh, in a balanced system. So according to him, people come together in formal organization to achieve ends they cannot accomplish working alone. So zone of identification, that is area of acceptance, is given here. So, in individual and organizational purposes kept in balance for managers understood an employee is area. So, the zone of identification, that is ZOL, we can ZOI we can see. So, what employees can do without questioning the manager's authority in that area. Mary Parker Follett says that uh, like she introduced new elements, especially a new area of human relation, organizational structure, and Follett also was convinced that one could become a whole person except as a member of a group. So human relationship with other in organization. She called management as a art of getting things done through people. So Follett's and holistic model of control took into account not just individual and group, but the effect of such environment factors as political, economic, and biological things. So in a model, she gave an idea that management meant more than just what was happening inside a particular organization. Behavioral, like now we have a behavioral school, a group of management scholars, trained in social and psychological and related field, who use their diverse knowledge to purpose more, uh, who use their drives knowledge to purpose more effective ways to manage people in organization. The school involved in the organization recognition of the and the importance of human behavior in these. So it is a more humanistic theory in a way. So how many managers interact with other employees or recruiters in the way. So like Elton Mayo, um, how thrown affect the responsibility that workers who receive special attention will perform better. They received special attention. So this theory was basically the humanistic relation theory was developed by Elton Mayo, who conducted experiment designing to improve the productivity that laid the foundation of human relation movement. So his focus was on changing work condition, like lightning, breaking time, and length of work, work day. Every change he tested was met with an improvement in performance. So ultimately, he concluded that the improvement wouldn't, weren't due to change, but the result of researchers paying attention to employees and making them feel valued. So these experiments gave rise to the theory that employees are more motivated by personal attention and being apart from a group than they are by money or even working conditions. So system management, then we can say here is that Maslow's theory can also come here. That is the Maslow's theory saying that psychological satisfaction, safety, social esteem, and self esteem, self actualization are the growth of motivation. Then Douglas McGeer argumented that the management has been ignoring the fact about people that believe the theory X to be truer, while the theory Y is more truly representative of people, most people. So the model such as theory X and theory Y are also called as pragmatism or pragmatic theory. Now there will be a difference among people, so as few will fit into theory X and few will fit into theory Y. That is nearly all employees. Theory X explaining that nearly all employees, however, have some potential for growth in their capabilities and demonstrating the performance. Whereas theory Y, according to George, a traditional view of motivation that holds the work as a distasteful to employees who must be motivated or by force, money, or by praises. So assumptions is that the typical person dislike work or will avoid it if it is possible. The typical person lack responsibility, has little ambition, and seeks security above all. So most people must be forced, controlled, and threatened, but punishment is to get to them for work. The theory Y says that assuming that the people are inherent motivated to work and do a good job. Theory why assumption workers as a natural as pay it rest, and people are not inherently lazy. People will exercise in self direction and self control in services for objective to which they are committed to. People have potential, and under proper condition they will learn to accept and seek the responsibility. They have imaginations, integrity, and creativity, and they like to do so. The system management theory, it is a set of things that are working together as part of an interconnection a network. A system is prescribed as usual repetition ways of carrying out an activity or a set of activities. Okay. Uh, so these set of activities is like a system is prescribed usually let is repetitious way of carrying out any activity or set of activities in a way. The system approach may be defined as a goal-oriented organism that is composed of interrelated and such a way that the total system is greater than the sum of its parts. The system may be viewed as consisting of four basic elements, that is input, transformation, process, and feedback. So the input are the process to achieve the desired output, and basically desired output. So the organization is an open system with where in an system management theory. So this theory asserts that the business consists of multiple components that must work in harmony for a larger system or to function optimally. So the organization's success therefore depends on the synergy, independence, and interrelation between the subsystems. Okay, so according to this theory, the employees are most important component of the company and departments. So the worker group and the business units are all additional and crucial elements of success. So, according to this theory, managers should evaluate pattern and even within the organization to determine the best management approach. They need to collaborate and work together on an organization to ensure the success. Okay, so the organization as an open system says that and the input, that is the raw material, human resource, capital, technology, and information, will transform into a process that employees will work actively, manage the activities, technology, and the operation method will give out an output of a product and service, that is financial results will show, and information will be generated, and human development as a result will come out. So then it is again given out in a way of a feedback. Positive feedback will say that you are working in a correct manner. Negative feedback will say that the work has some deficiency, and it has in that process there has to be a correction in the process. So that is a organization's system process that we have to consider in understanding. So here to say that the key concept is that those part making whole system, that is synergy, open system, a system that impact with the environment, and closed system, a system that does not interact with the environment, and the system boundary, the boundary that separates each system from its environment. It is rigid in a closed system and flexible in an open system of working. Then we have contingency management theory. So in contingency management theory, that the view that management techniques that best contributes to the attainment of organizational goal might vary in different types of situations or or circumstances. So also it is called the situational approaches. Okay. So when we are talking about contingency management theory, The approach was basically developed by managers, consultants, and researchers who tried to apply the concept of major schools to a real life situation. So, according to contingency approach, the manager task is to identify which technique will be in a particular situation under the particular circumstances and a particular time. So, the best contribute the attainment of the management goal. So then we have, in the contingency management theory itself, that it was developed by Fred Fiedler. This theory is primarily focuses is that no management approach work for every organization. Okay, so there is no particular approach that work for every organization. So Fiedler suggested that a leader trait will direct relate to how effectively they lead their team. So he asserts that there are leadership traits that applies to every kind of situation, and that is the leader must be flexible to adapt to a changing environment. Okay, then we have dynamic approach. Dynamic approach says like view in relationship with relation to saying view the time of human relations are focusing and uh, you know uh, are focusing management and rethinking tradition uh, approach in a phase so that the changes, there is a constant phase of constant and rapid changes that determining the uh, you know uh, uh, determine the term dynamic engagement is best expressed with this and other vigorous ways of today, and most useful manager focuses on human relation and quick adjustment to the changes in condition over the time. The management has come to limelight after 1990s. So that's why it is this dynamic engagement approach sees that it change it with time and the tradition of it changes with traditional approach at the face of constant change. So dynamic itself expressing that we are constantly evolving and changing at the peak of the time. All right, so this is all for the management theory, and uh, we'll again see you for the next lecture. Have a nice day.